What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm here today with JSU as we try and navigate the wildness that has been the NBA season. I mean, JSU, some of these injury reports are like reading War and Peace. It's taking me so long to get through them all. How have you been handling all the COVID madness?
Yeah, it's just you got to kind of go with the flow here, right? With whatever's happening. And COVID's been tough to kind of navigate, like you said, but got to figure it out and got to move through it because we got to get some winners for the people. So, but then been doing okay. DFS has been fine, but definitely tough. It's not easy. And when you have these massive slates, at least the last couple of days, it's been like 5 gamers, 6 game. When you have these massive slates, this is when it starts to get really tough. And from a betting angle too, it's like, man, you can't bet on all these guys. Like you can't bet on all these games. So you just got to kind of pick and choose your spots. And that's what I would recommend people doing today. I wouldn't be trying to fire all over the place. I'd be trying to pick and choose a couple spots to just target because you never know the news that's going to drop. That's been the other wild thing is just like we've been getting news all throughout the day. It's not before where we like knew, okay, after a shoot around for these teams, we were going to get like guys that were questionable, game time decision, guys that were probable, all that stuff. Well, now it's like the COVID thing too. So guys could get ruled out with the protocols all the way up to like almost lock. You know what I mean? So I give the example of like a few guys just recently who popped up that we had no idea were even considered in the health and safety protocols, figured they were going to play. And then at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, they get hit and they're out due to the protocols. And you're like, where did that come from? Like, what is going on? At least if we're going to do this, can we like have a cutoff time spread? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, how don't we have like a cutoff time? Like, okay, everyone gets tested and like by 3, we know like this guy's out, this guy's not, or however they do it. Like there needs to be a cutoff time here. They can't be like 6, 7 o'clock at night and they're still ruling guys out. Like that's just wild.
Yeah, and Adam Silver is actually recognized. I've been hard on Adam Silver. I actually have a lot of problems with what he's doing, but at least he recognized the problem and he announced, it was either last night or today, that they're working to change the protocols going forward. And I think the number one big thing that will affect us is that asymptomatic players will no longer be tested. And I think that will actually shorten these reports a lot. So looks like they're trying to move in the right direction, but as anything, with owners and unions, right? These things never go quickly. So we will see how it turns out. But,
it's going to go quickly because the product, it's just not the same, right, Spread? I mean,
right.
You've watched NBA for how many years, right? And I've watched NBA for a long time now. It's like, I mean, come on, we can all tell that the product is getting damaged by all these guys being out. And how could it not? You're essentially taking, how X many of the best players in the world, and now you're taking it down a peg because you got to pull guys from G League or off the streets, former NBA players that haven't been in the league for years, and you're pulling them up to play. And it's like, not that they're not good and not that they still can't ball, which I'm sure a lot of them still can't ball and, whatever, but it's still not the same. And that's when changes will be made. When it starts to affect the bottom, the dollar and that's when Adam Silver is stepping in saying, okay, we realize now that this is too much. We got to find a way where our product does not get damaged too much by these rules. And like you said, the thing with the asymptomatic makes sense. Totally fine with that. Also, I think they're doing the thing with the 10-day hardships and stuff, and that's fine with me. Like, let teams sign guys if they need to fulfill a roster like that for a 10-day or something. Like, you can keep that stuff in place. I'm totally fine with them, signing someone if they need an extra body or an extra 2 bodies, whatever it may be. But man, when teams lose like 10 or 12 guys, I remember listening to, I forget which broadcast it was, but it was one of the teams that's decimated, you know what I mean? And they're literally playing a bunch of guys that weren't even on the team, weren't even in the thought process. And they're like, how can these guys have any chemistry? I mean, they're literally coming off the street to play with other guys that they've never played with before. I mean, that's not easy to do.
It's a pickup game
NBA.
in a 16,000 man arena. I mean, can you imagine going to play pickup, right? Like, hey, what's up, JSU? We've never played together before. Like, yeah, I know who you are, but I mean, it's unreal. Adam Silver said that there will not be pausing. The show will be going, but you made the point about these G Leaguers, and it's just so insane the level that the NBA is compared to the G League, right? Look at Isaiah Thomas, for example, right? He drops 46 in the G League, gets called up to the Lakers. I mean, he looked lost out there, right? It didn't even look like he belonged on the floor.
I mean, but that's the difference, though, between the G League. Isaiah Thomas is the best player in the G League. You know what I mean? Like, he is. And he's a great player. I'm not trying to, like, make fun of Isaiah. Isaiah Thomas can ball. You put him in a game, he can put buckets up. There's just a massive difference between NBA and G League.
Exactly.
And NBA, it's not. It's just. It's different. Yeah. And that's my point is how can the owners and Adam Silver in the league not look at the product and be like, the product is getting hurt by these rules. And if there's a way where they can change it and people can still be safe and whatever, then why aren't they doing that? Like, you got to do it. I don't know. It's just, it makes sense to me, but we'll see.
Yeah. And so, and fortunately, the viewers and the chat have been really cool and understanding that, hey, we're just going to give our thoughts on a lot of games. We don't have a lot of bets. If you'll notice, I'm kind of staying off the sheet the last couple of days because it's just like, I personally don't watch a lot of college. So a lot of these players are just unknown to me. And even the guys that do watch college, they're telling me, hey, it's hard to tell how these guys translate, right? Even the best GMs in the world miss on half their draft picks. Right. Every lottery pick looks good when they're drafted, right? Usually only 5 of the 13 turn out to be great players. So, we're struggling too, but everyone's been cool and understanding as we talk our way through this game. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks. Hey, obviously they're decimated. No Trae Young, no Clint Capella tonight. They're plus 11 heading to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. 76ers are minus 11 here. And I think that Clint Capella means a lot. Obviously Trae hurts, right? But who's going to guard Embiid for this team? That's going to be a really tough assignment. Also out is Gallinari, TLC, Lou Williams, Kevin Huerter. And on the Philly side, they are missing Andre Drummond, Georges Niang, and Shake Milton. Furkan Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaden Springer all return. So, I mean, obviously like a lean here, but I guess I like Atlanta to keep it close. And just my idea is that Philadelphia does have a tendency to really slow down in the fourth quarters, and maybe Atlanta takes advantage of this and, is able to get within the number. But I also thought that might happen with the Rockets last night, and they got absolutely blown off the floor. So what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah. My thoughts continue with Philadelphia to be that they're overrated, that they're not that good anyways. That's another spread. These Thursday shows, I will say, have been profitable. If you've been betting on these Thursday shows, you've had to be winning because the best bets have been hitting. Again, last week, I'm pretty sure my best bet was against Philly. I can't even remember who they were playing. I just know it hit. I told you guys they weren't good, and they lost. And I feel like they're just one of those teams where everyone just expects them to be like a decent to good team. And right now they're just not. And it's tough with all the COVID stuff to really be like, okay, this is exactly what we're going to see. Cause they don't have their full team, but nobody has their full team. So, right. Or most teams don't have their full team. I mean, OKC somehow, how is OKC avoided? It's like they've avoided the COVID bug completely. Their whole team.
I think nobody leaves the house in Oklahoma City. Like, what would they go to do? Like, they go get their groceries and head back home.
They just all like stay in their apartments and play video games online with each other or something like that. Like they just, OKC, aren't they like the youngest team in the NBA? That's probably like what's happening. They probably just like stay in their apartments or houses and play video games online with each other when they're not hooping or practicing or whatever. So it could be, but it is just funny that they haven't gotten hit with it yet. So, but to this game, if you watched the Atlanta Hawks last night, they were struggling to score, and it was one of the biggest problems with Atlanta last night. They were struggling to score against Orlando, and Orlando's been decimated with injuries or COVID and stuff like that. So like you're struggling to score against that team, and now you got to play Embiid and the Sixers here coming on a back-to-back in the back end. And I just don't know where the scoring's going to come from spread if Cam Reddish doesn't put up 30. I mean, they needed all of Cam Reddish's 30-plus points, and he's still a bit rusty. I know he just dropped the 30-burger, but he was rusty, I thought, offensively in that game. He had no choice but to be aggressive, but at first he was struggling. That game started off real slow. Could have just been a blowout from the get-go, too, may I add. John Collins started off extremely slow offensively. You can tell that without Trae Young on the floor, he really struggles to get his own offense. Trae is so important to John Collins offensively, and we saw it last night. He ended up getting there. He ended up getting his, 23 or so points, hit a few threes at the end of the game. But I'm telling you right now, the first half, the dude had 7 points in the half, and he played 19 minutes. So that's rough when you're playing almost the entire half and you got 7 points, and you and Cam Reddish are the two main pieces of offense. That can't happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm going to stay away from this game because I feel like I should bet Philly here, but I'm not going to do it because I just don't like them as a team. Might be my bias.
Let's talk about that DFS. So Cam Reddish was in a bunch of cores yesterday on the Run Pure site. I had him in the core. How great was that? John Collins, like you said, got there for us, but not the best play at his price tag. Cam Reddish is up to 4,600. John Collins is at 7,300. I had DeLon Wright in there too. He was another one that just started terribly. Ended up doing okay, right? But
the problem with DeLon Wright is he's not very aggressive.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like to shoot from the outside. He's not a great 3-point shooter. He doesn't really like to create his own offense at all unless he's getting to the rim, but he really wants to create for others. DeLon Wright is more of a very passive guy. He's not the aggressor. Okay. And that's what they were trying to get Cam Reddish to be last night. And I thought, especially in the second, he did a good job of that, especially in the second half, of being more of the aggressor. And that's what John Collins needed to be from the get-go. He did it at the end, and he got there, spread. I will say, from a fantasy standpoint, John Collins got there. He did great. But, if you looked at the first half and the second half, after the first half, you weren't like, oh, yes, I played John Collins. You were a little worried, okay, John, let's step it up here a little bit, buddy. We got to, keep this game close and start to score a little. But it just goes to show you when you take a few key pieces out, how much all the guys that are considered to be good players, and I think John Collins is a good player, but I just think it showed so much in the first half how much Trae means to him.
So, but I always think this is fascinating. Do you go back here to Cam Reddish last night after what he put up 51.5 DraftKings points? Or are you saying, hey, that was cool that we were able to get that last night and now we move on?
Well, the good thing is I don't really respect Philly. So I'll probably go back to him because he's still cheap. And listen, if Cam Reddish gets you 30 at 4,600, you're not mad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't need 50 from 4,600 player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, spread?
Mm-hmm.
So there's still value in that price tag, big time.
Any interest in these other guys?
Are.
Like Bogdanovich is only 5,100. He's probably the best shot creator on their team.
The problem is Bogdanovich only played 22 minutes last night and off of a back-to-back. Remember, he was actually out with an injury, right?
Oh, okay.
So he was injured.
Yeah.
And he came back from an injury last night, and it was his first game back in a while. So on a back-to-back, I can't see them. If they were cautious with him last night, I can't see them just running him out there. If you told me he played 30 minutes, though, I would like Bogdanovich, but I just don't know if they're going to do that. Maybe if we get word hey, he's going to have no minutes limit tonight, he's going to start. I would like Bogdanovich, but I need some type of confirmation like that.
All right, and we've been saying it a lot more than usual on this show. We will wait for the news. The Houston Rockets are now +9. They could not get it done in a similar point spread situation last night, but they were not going against the defending NBA champions and not the Indiana Pacers. Pacers are -9, total 222.5. The Rockets, obviously young team development, getting things turned around there. But with these young developmental teams, there's going to be nights, where they look great and you see all the potential of these young guys. And there's nights where they just fall flat. We saw that last night. The Indiana Pacers, a team in turmoil. Turner wants to be traded. Sabonis wants to be traded. I don't know if LeVert wants to be traded, but he's on the block. If you're getting rid of all those guys, you might as well get rid of Brogdon too, right? And just start over. I'm an advocate for that. I say don't be mediocre. And even Pace. I talked to some Indiana fans, and I'm a Kings fan. We're both in the same boat. We'd rather see a bunch of young guys trying hard than a bunch of veterans who've already got paid be mediocre. So Pacers probably going to blow it up before the trade deadline. I can't back the Pacers, man. If I were to bet this, I'll play the +9, but I got burned last night. Happy to stay away. What are your thoughts on the Rockets and the Pacers?
Yeah, so with all of what's going on, they're 9 right now. I feel like the Rockets, though, aren't they're not playing their guy. Even when the games are a little closer, they're not playing their like good guys like max minutes like they were earlier in the year, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if I were to lean aside, I'd probably lean the Pacers, even though, again, I don't think the Pacers are a very good team when it comes to closing games out. And when it's a big spread, like a bigger spread like this, that makes me uncomfortable. So again, this is a spot where it's not going to be one of my favorite bets. I'm not going to be loading up to play the Pacers at -9. I'm going to pick my spots here on the slate, and this isn't one of my spots.
Okay, yeah, and that's fine with that too. Yeah, like I said, if we're doing a pick 'em pool, I'll take the Rockets, but I don't need to back them with real American currency. The New Orleans Pelicans are -5.5, heading to Orlando +5.5 for the Magic. Totals 209. Orlando did get the upset victory over the Hawks last night, and this game's just got an injury report. It would take the whole show for me to read it off here. I'm completely fine staying away with this game. I'm guessing you are too, but there's got to be some DFS value to be found in this game. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, actually, so as crazy as this is to sound, Orlando has played with the guys that they've had a decent amount because a lot of their guys have been out for a while now. So if you want to talk about from a chemistry standpoint, I think that some of these guys have gotten used to playing with each other a little bit more, especially their starting five, because, again, they play with each other enough. And Pelicans just lost Joe Val to the health and safety protocol list, I'm pretty sure, which is a big loss offensively. I think at home, you could probably take the Magic with the points at +6. The Pelicans aren't that great of a team. They also lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker, another scorer, their scorer that comes off the bench and gives them a little punch off the bench. So now you lose two pretty good offensive players that they use a good amount in Joe Val and Na. Definitely doesn't downgrade them a ton defensively, but at the same time, offensively, it hurts a little bit because now it puts it all on Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham, maybe Josh Hart, and Hernan. Is it Hernan Gomez who's going to start? I think. Yeah, probably he's going to start. So I would assume him if he starts. But yeah, it's gonna put it on those guys, and I'll take the Magic. They've looked fine. They handled Atlanta for a lot of that game. It was a 10, 12 point lead for them most of that game.
Yeah. So let's talk about some value here. Hernan Gomez actually got more than 1 fantasy point per minute last game. I see that he's 3,800. Someone's got to take these shots. I don't think I want to spend up for Ingram, although, you're the expert. If you say to, I'm going to throw him in there. Josh Hart, I'm not paying 6,200 for Josh Hart, but are there maybe some guys I could value out so I can spend up later?
I think the entire Pelicans starting lineup makes a lot of sense.
So you would play Ingram?
Ingram's the one where I think you could play him. I don't know if on an 11-game slate I'm going to get there. I'm just saying I think they're all in play because the massive amount of minutes that they're going to get, I would assume. And I also think Orlando can hang. So if I think Orlando can hang and they're the dog here, And I'm going to like these guys, right, Spread? Because that's, in my eyes, I'm seeing a closer game. Both teams are a little more back and forth. I'm going to like both sides of this game. So I'm going to like a little bit of the Orlando side, but really I'm going to like the Pelicans side here. And I know you said you don't want to play Josh Hart at 6,200, but man, Josh Hart has been balling. And I know it's a lot, but at the same time, the dude's getting like 37 to 40 minutes. Like, you're going to lock me in that type of minutes, and the production that he's been doing has been pretty good. So I'm not discounting any of these starters. I assume that Hernan Gomez starts too, and he's going to be the biggest chalk on the slate probably, for good reason.
Do you like Hart more than Devontae Graham here tonight?
I think Hart can do more. I think Devontae Graham's like a better scorer though offensively.
Okay.
Like, I think he could pop off for like a 30-point game, Devontae Graham. I don't think Josh Hart's giving you 30 almost ever. I think if you're playing Josh Hart, you're looking like this dude's going to give me like 15 points, 10 rebounds, a couple steals or blocks. Like, that's the type of game you can get from Josh Hart. But it can end in a 40 burger, which is fine. You know what I mean?
He got 40 his last time out. So maybe I spoke
too soon on discounting 40. Him. I'm telling you, he can give you 40. Like, he's got that in him.
Okay. Maybe I spoke too soon discounting him, so I'll be eager to see those cores. And, of course, if you want to see the cores too, become a member of runpuresports.com. You'll get access to JSU cores, which come up after all the news has come out, right before the lock. And use the promo code GETBETS to become a member of the Run Pure Bets team as well. The Detroit Pistons are plus 11.5, heading to Miami to take on the Heat. Heat minus 11.5. Total up to 208. Pistons without Cade Cunningham, without Jeremy Grant. How do the Pistons score in this game? What are your thoughts on this one?
This game is, oh boy, like Miami against Detroit without Cade and Jeremy Grant's gone. Like, this game's gonna be ugly. I want no part of this game. I think Miami is my lean. I think Miami's well-coached team, even though they're down their two best players too, they still got Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero. They got enough, right, Spread? We've seen them get it done with this cast without their two studs in a few different spots. So I think I would go the Miami side at, 10 or 11, whatever the spread is right now. 10,
I see 11.5 right now. Yeah, if I were to play this game, I think the best look is maybe just a Pistons team total under. Probably be slow pace. I just don't see how they're going to score, right? I mean, so many times I've taken the Pistons in this situation, like plus 11.5. That's when they're attractive to me. And it's just like, it just feels like Cade or bust. Those minutes that he's on the bench are so rough if you're back in the Pistons. So now, I guess they have Killian Hayes back tonight, who's doing a little better. But I still don't trust him. I see Corey Joseph is back. Hamidou Diallo is back for Detroit. Frank Jackson, he's got a nice little outside shot, but I think this team's really going to struggle here. So if I were to do anything, it'd basically just be a Pistons fade like you. Anyone for DFS? I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I wasn't too interested in it. Am I missing value?
Well, we do want to see a starting lineup for Detroit. I mean, Hamidou Diallo has been getting some minutes. Frank Jackson's questionable. I want to see if he's out, because if he's out, then the guard pool is thinner in general for Detroit, right? So I kind of want to see who's in, who's out officially for this game. If Frank Jackson's going to be out and I get a starting lineup, who knows? It might be Corey Joseph and Saban Lee, or Corey Joseph and Diallo. Maybe you could play one of those guards. But I want to wait and see a starting lineup. That game's early, right, Spread?
Yeah, I think this one will tip off at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30.
Yeah, so time. We should hopefully get that, before lock of the sevens.
Yeah. The Washington Wizards, +1, heading to New York to take on the Knicks. Boy, the Knicks in a lot of trouble as well. They're missing Nerlens Noel, Kevin Knox, Emmanuel Quickly. Oh, it looks like Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett are back. That'll actually help the team a lot. Miles McBride and Quentin Grimes missing as well. On the Washington side, KCP's out. Hashimura's questionable. So a healthier team there for Washington. But Washington, boy, after that nice start, right, they've really come back to earth. And then you've heard grumblings about Dinwiddie and his role. I think this is a tough game to handicap. You have to nail me down. I guess I'll take the Wizards because they seem more healthy. But when I looked at this game earlier, I didn't think the Toppin and Barrett were going to play. With them back in, that might, move the pendulum towards the Knicks. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean the Knicks here. I don't, again, it's not a massively strong take, but I just think the Knicks would be the spot with RJ coming back, with Toppin, who I do like, by the way. I think Obi Toppin's a decent role player. And I think this team's good enough to get the dub here against Washington. It only a 1-point spread, so you pretty much just a pick 'em, right? Spread, just pretty much just picking the winner here.
Yeah.
Knicks at home. I'm going to roll with the Knicks here. From a fantasy standpoint, don't have a lot. Like Kemba is probably still fine at his price tag. With RJ coming back, though, it is a little bit of a downgrade. Obi Toppin as well. Toppin. I mean, we'll see what the starters are, but you would assume it's still similar, right? Spread, like they roll out there Alec Burks, Kemba, Julius Randle, the big, and RJ, right?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Bradley Beal? He led the NBA in scoring last year. What's he at this year? 23 points per game. Are you surprised that Beal's just, basically not playing as well as he did last year?
Yeah, I mean, something's eventually going to give. I don't know what it is. At the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, they kind of started off good as a team spread, and I was like, all right, well, he's kind of being more of like a team guy and getting others involved. He has a lot of new guys too, so he was probably trying to get them involved and stuff. But now it's starting to spiral a little bit, and you would think the old Bradley Beal would come in and start to pick up the old scoring role again. We still haven't seen it. That doesn't mean it can't come back. It's just, for now, Washington's not a team that I've been targeting a ton. I kind of been staying away at Washington.
Yeah, and I can see why. That's for good reason. The Milwaukee Bucks are now -3, heading to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. I don't know anyone on Run Pure who's high on the Mavericks this season. Let me just take a quick look at this injury report. Of course, Giannis is out. DiVincenzo's still out. Bobby Portis is out. Grayson Allen is back. I don't know how much that matters to you. On the Mavericks side, they are decimated. No Willie Cauley-Stein, no Josh Green, no Trey Burke, no Luka, no Maxi Kleber, no Hardaway, and no Reggie Bullock. How is Miami only -3 here? What am I missing?
How is Milwaukee -3? The only thing I can think of is it's on a back-to-back, and maybe we don't have the full news. Maybe Middleton sits out on a back-to-back coming off that, injury, and then he played last night. Drew's been playing a bunch of minutes. Maybe Dallas has nobody. They got Jalen Brunson. Trey Burke. His minutes were massive in the last game they played. He only played like 21, 22 minutes, but I thought they were very meaningful minutes, especially in the first half. And I just don't see it. Like, I don't see how Milwaukee is only 3-point favorites here, even in Dallas. I got to take Milwaukee. It does feel fishy to me, though, right, Spread? Like,
you're right. Now that you say that, right? Maybe someone knows something about Middleton. I mean, do you think they punt to just get ready for Christmas? I mean, they still get a day off before that.
They did it. You remember? So you remember the Pelicans played? I'm sorry, the Bucks played or the Pelicans. Maybe Friday. Maybe it was last Friday night. And then they played the next day, I think it was, and they randomly just you got the report Drew Holiday wasn't out, and he wasn't in the starting lineup, and then he didn't play or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
After that big game, who knows? It could be some crap like that they pull where randomly they decide, no, let's hold back one of these guys because they got to play Christmas Day, right? They're playing Christmas Day, right?
Yeah, they play the Celtics.
So you would think that they'd want to have their guys fully ready. I wouldn't be shocked on a back-to-back if Middleton didn't play. Again, we don't know this. This is just us kind of.
That's what the line says though, right?
I mean, the line
should be -5, -6.
Dallas is literally down almost all of their guys. Their guys left. Just to be clear, they've got Dwight Powell who starts, Dorian Finney-Smith, who starts, and then Jalen Brunson, who's like the sixth man off the bench. And he's a good sixth man, by the way. He's a very, very good sixth man. He's a good basketball player. But that's it. They don't got anybody else. Like they got Boban on the bench. They got a few guys that they signed. They got Marquise Chris, who they signed off the bench and played some meaningful minutes last game. Frankie Nicotine is playing 32 minutes. Like I'm trying to think of like who they have. It's just making me laugh every time. And this team, beat Minnesota pretty handily, in my opinion. Last game, they beat up on them a little bit. So they got nobody, but I just can't see if the Bucks come in at 3-point favorites, me not betting the Bucks. Even if one of those studs misses, I still have a good chance to win with the one stud that plays and the backups, right, Spread? Like I have to still be in a good spot.
So DFS, how about DFS? Dorian Finney-Smith, 5,900. He scored 38 points last time. It seems to be taking a lot of the usage with everybody out. I was looking towards him. Do you want to kind of put us in the right direction? Because it seems like there should be value on this Dallas team too, right?
Yeah, DFS. He was in the core last night or 2 nights ago, whenever it was too. I thought it was a good play that night. He was a little cheaper. Now he's in a range where it's like, I don't know. I would have to be MME to probably get to him. If I made like 1 to 3 lineups, I'm probably not going to play him. But I understand why you would think about it. I already outlined it a little bit. They got nobody. And if the spread is close. So honestly, Spread, I guess my opinion on Dorian Finney-Smith might change a little if we get news like one of those Bucks guys is out.
Right. Because, and then the game's more likely to stay close.
Yeah, because right now, I just don't see how this is a 3-point game. I just don't see it. Like, I don't see how the Bucks, how the Mavs can just keep this game close all the way through against the Bucks. But again, I think we're missing something here. I think we'll get something closer to game time that makes it more of a, okay, now I see how. And it might bring into play some of these guys. So that's something you're going to have to kind of just stay tuned on. Is that a 7:30 game Spread?
It's 5:30 my time, 8:30 your time.
Damn it. Well, maybe we won't get it until closer to game time. And maybe you backload one lineup and just wait and see. You might fall on the news and be good swap.
And there's so many pivots, right? If it doesn't turn your way. So
I mean, you still got like 3 other games that
you have actually you have 5 other games that you could pivot to. So you're not dead at all in the water.
I always like backloading a lineup.
Especially now.
Yeah, if I'm making 3 or 4 teams in a night, I always like backloading. If I'm making like 2 though, I won't always do it. But if I'm making like 3 or 4, I almost always will try and build a team with guys that I like that are a little later, just so I have the ability if news breaks. Yeah.
And that's something when Travis is on, he's always preaching, think about your pivots.
He's the king
beforehand.
of the backload.
He plays it like chess. He goes, if this has happened, this is going to be a move. But this guy, he's thinking 2 to 3 moves ahead. And so I always appreciate that when we're talking with him. The Minnesota Timberwolves are +12 heading to Utah to take on the Jazz. The Jazz at -12 here. The Jazz, the highest point differential in the league. They have not only been winning, they've been blowing other teams out. I think they're another team that's been fairly safe, right? When I'm looking at this report, I don't see anyone from Utah on it. So I guess the key to avoiding COVID is to be in the Midwest. On the Minnesota side, Anthony Edwards is still out. Patrick Beverley's still out. Josh Okogie's still out. And I know this doesn't mean much for DFS, but for me, handicapping these games, the absence of Jared Vanderbilt a really versatile defender that I felt really was helping to shore up that Minnesota defense, especially because, we love Cat, for fantasy. But if you criticize his defense, you're never going to get anybody disagreeing with you. Never been the best defender. I think that Vanderbilt being out really hurts this team. That being said, the points might be a little too much. Interesting to see how Towns does against Gobert. I think if he brings it out, that can open things up for his other teammates, Russell included. If Edwards was there, I would think might open up Edwards for a big night. But of course, he's out. I lean towards taking the points with Minnesota, but Utah's been blowing everyone out. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, you gotta feel a little more comfortable just taking that big side with Utah. I just don't know how you feel like if you're taking one of these two sides, how the Minnesota side makes you feel comfortable. You watch them play against Dallas. I mean, one thing that Dallas just exposed was their defensive rotations without some of their defensive.
Without Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was like the glue. He was like Davis was for the Lakers.
It was interesting. At first, they were getting all these lob dunks to Dwight Powell, and you're like, how the hell are you just like letting this happen? And then it just opened up where Dorian Finney-Smith was getting wide open corner threes, and all these guys were getting like wide open looks from the outside, and it was because they couldn't rotate. And then towards the end of the game, you started to see them try and isolate D'Angelo Russell because he's a terrible one-on-one on-ball defender, and they knew that. And they were trying to get him, switched on to, Brunson or whoever had the ball in his hands, Finney-Smith, and then go at him. And that worked. Like, it's just Minnesota defensively, without their full guys, their defensive guys, is rough to watch. And that's what you saw in that last game was these Malik Beasley. I think they're good players, but just defensively, they're not good. They're not good at all. So the one way they can keep this game in check is if Cat's hitting his threes and he can pull Rudy Gobert from the paint. If he can pull Rudy Gobert out,
he's going to be able to do. Yeah.
If he can pull Rudy Gobert out, they at least got a shot to hang in this game because he's one of the better centers that can stretch the floor.
Well, according to him, he's the best shooting big man of all time. Did you hear that, JSU?
Yeah, I heard that one. But, Fred, I'm not gonna just throw that out. I think he's a really good shooter from the outside.
You know what I was thinking? I said, okay, to me, I was like, no. But if you actually just said centers, right, and then I don't get to choose Larry Bird, right, because he was a small forward. I don't get to choose Dirk Nowitzki.
You don't put like small forwards in.
But if you actually just put centers, I was like, maybe he's right. I was trying to go through the history, like
who's better, him or Embiid? Who's got a better stroke?
From the outside, Towns.
Yeah,
much better.
Too.
I think he's much better.
I think strictly Towns from the top of the key is definitely the best. That's where he is good. Mm-hmm. He'll sometimes move around, and I think when he's at the top of the key, he's got the best. His stroke from the top of the key is nice. That's where he excels.
Yeah, so I think that if he can bring Rudy out, they can keep this close. But like you said, they look so bad against the Mavericks. Let's see if they bounce back. Utah's a tough place to play. Charlotte Hornets are plus 2.5. They head to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Nuggets laying 2.5. The total is 230. That's a high total in these days here. Let's take a look at this injury report because how can you talk about a game without going over the injury report? And Nuggets, hey, not too bad actually. Bones Highland's back or probable. JaMychal Green's probable. Aaron Gordon's probable. Gordon Hayward's back. Bull's out. And Cody Martin's out for Charlotte. So actually, this is one of our cleaner games here. Boy, I liked the Nuggets yesterday. That was disappointing. And of course, I told you that I had all fire in my lineup, except for I spent up for Jokic. All the value gets there, and my spend up doesn't get it done for me. They did rest him, though. I'm wondering if they're looking forward to tonight. They do not play on Christmas. Why not sell out, get the win right before the break here? I like Denver here. What are your thoughts?
Two things. One, Michael Malone doing Michael Malone things, trying to prove a point, make a statement, leaving all his guys on the bench last night and letting that OKC team get a win. Michael Malone, I think he's a terrible coach personally, but he gets Jokic, you know what I mean? So you're going to look good when you've got the MVP, and that's what he's got. So he can pull shit like that. And Jokic loves him, so like whatever, it's fine. But I don't think he's a very good coach personally. But that's what he did. He was trying to prove a point. His starters didn't play well in that game. He was probably pissed, and the bench guys came in, gave him a little spark, got him back kind of close in the game. But they just had no legs at the end of the game. They were gassed. But once they got back in that game, if Michael Malone was trying to win the game, which he clearly wasn't, he would have brought his starters back in to finish it out. Even at like the 5-6 minute mark, they were down 10. Right. You know, and the bench guys got them back within 10. So I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, they were clearly gassed at that point. And if he brought his starters back in and that worked, like doing the little, like, I'll show you and, you know, you'll sit for longer than you're supposed to, they could have still won that game. But he didn't care about winning. I think he was trying to make a point, prove a point to his guys. I do think his guys come in tonight and win this game. I think they beat up on a Charlotte team. I think Jokic goes for a monster number. I think this game goes over the total. I think both teams can score. You said the total is 230 spread?
Yeah, 230 right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that this game goes over the total. I'm going to take Denver at the whatever 2.5 or 3, whatever you're finding it at. If you can find it at 2.5. But I definitely like Denver in this spot. Jokic is going to absolutely smash this Charlotte Hornets team. I played Jokic last night too, so I know what you're feeling because I had two really good teams, but with Jokic, and it just, you know, stalled out. But at the same time, I hope that some people have the sour taste in their mouth and don't just go right back to him. That's what I'm hoping. And it's an 11-game slate. I don't think it'll happen. I still think he's going to be popular, but I hope people are mad. And maybe we only get like a 10% ownership drop, but I'll take it, spread. Like, give me that. I'm back in on Jokic tonight. Jokic is going to smash. I think he gets 70 burger here, and we'll be happy we played him.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about, you know, the two matchups, right? I think the two teams we want to target as centers, I mean, even not with an MVP candidate, right? With any centers, right? You target the Thunder and you target the Hornets.
Yeah. By the way, spread, how do you feel about this? So, like, Christmas Day, there's 5 games, right? How isn't the reigning MVP and the Denver Nuggets, who are a good team, they made the playoffs last year, they were a good team, how are they not one of the 10 teams that play on Christmas? How is the MVP not one of your highlights on Christmas? Do they hate Jokic? Like, I don't – that doesn't make any sense. Like, on Christmas, you're marketing the stars, right? Like, you're marketing your star guy. How is Jokic not one of, like, the 10 – at least the 10 stars in the NBA that you want to market on Christmas? How does that make any sense?
Yeah, and if I remember right, they lost in the second round, so they weren't in the Final Four. They were one of the final 8 teams.
Doesn't matter, though. He was the reigning MVP. Imagine LeBron, after he won the MVP the next year, not being on Christmas. Yeah. Or D-Wade, or like any of these other, like, great guys who won the MVP. Like, just imagine. It would never happen. How is Jokic not in the same category as all these other stars in the NBA? How is he not right with them or ahead of a lot of them? I don't get it.
The only thing I can say is bing bong. They wanted to get the Knicks on there, right? Because you're looking right now, who's the team that probably shouldn't have been on there? It's the New York Knicks, but they probably want
because we needed Julius Randle and friggin' RJ Barrett, and we needed those guys over Nikola Jokic. Yeah, like NBA, they do a lot of things right. I will say, but that's a swing and miss. You need the MVP from last year, and the guy who should probably win the MVP again this year should definitely be on Christmas Day slate. Don't make any sense.
There. Yeah,
give me Steph Curry, give me LeBron, give me Jokic, and then Giannis. And who I know Giannis probably won't play, or I don't know if he'll play yet, if he clears, whatever. But give me those guys, and then just whoever else you want to put in is who you want to put in. But those 4 guys should be on the Christmas slate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. No argument for me. The Oklahoma City Thunder, plus 15, head into Phoenix to take on the Suns. I don't want to get involved in this game. I can't even give you a lean. What are your thoughts?
Was it the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah, they're minus 15 against the Thunder. I mean, to me, I'm like,
Minus
great job.
15.
You made a great line, right? I give you credit. Give you credit, bookmaker.
I mean, it's tough at 15 not to take the dog here, right? Like at 15, but
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I
Like
can't.
that's how bad it is. I can't do it.
I mean, Phoenix just beat the Lakers by 20. Did you watch that game the other night? I thought the Lakers would keep it close.
I did. I played some LeBron, so I watched that game last night.
Oh, yeah.
And
we got lucky, too, because I thought it was a mistake. We talked about it yesterday on the show. It was good for us, playing LeBron, but why do you put him in down 20 with 5 minutes to go? Like, what are we doing? The guy's like, 37 years old? He's played 60,000 minutes. Like,
no idea.
Crazy. It was just crazy.
Literally no idea. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is a pass game, though, spread. You're right. The line is set. It's perfect. I wouldn't touch this game. Like, I just wouldn't.
Yeah. Let's move on. I actually like this game. The Memphis Grizzlies are +6 against the Warriors. Warriors -6. And if you look, the Grizzlies have had success against the Warriors over the past year and a half. So, right, they were the team that knocked them out in the playoffs last year, or in the play-in. And I think it's because they match up really well, as in they're able to defend really well on the perimeter. They got plenty of guys that are willing to make Steph work. You're not going to shut Steph down, but the idea is you make him work, you get him tired. That's the best way to do it. And then, obviously, they don't have Joe Val this year, but Adams is pretty good. And with Jackson's emergence, they can attack the Warriors down low. So not only can they attack the Warriors' defensive deficiencies, they are able to match up with the Warriors' offense pretty well. I'm taking the points with the Grizzlies here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are the exact same. I think Memphis, the line is set, I think, pretty well at 5.5. I think, though, the value is still in Memphis. And the one thing that you said, Memphis has all those guards that they don't have like the one guy who teams put on someone. They have a few guys. So they don't have to just burn out one guy. And a lot of their guys are healthy because they've been through the protocol and they're back now. So the team that's decimated is the Golden State side.
Right.
And Steph Curry has been playing a lot off ball because of the emergence of Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, who's gotten no credit all year, but has played a lot better, in my opinion, this year. I think he's been a lot more aggressive this year. It's been a little more consistent too, even with them being, them having a lot of their team healthy. So losing those two guys, and then on top of it, just like Damian Lee, another shooter, guard, not going to play. Andre Iguodala, who gives them some key minutes, not going to play. With all those guys out, I mean, Steph's going to have to play more with the ball. And, he hasn't been doing that for a lot of this year. He'll go on spurts where he plays with the ball, but it's not most of the time he's playing off ball. And if teams are just doubling him and forcing the ball out of his hands, it's giving like Poole and Wiggins good looks, right? Now they're giving Draymond, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, Otto Porter, lesser guys good looks.
Kuminga's going to be good. He's not there yet, right? But can't you see him in 2 or 3 years? He's going to be good.
I think he's the best young kid they got. I really like him and Gary Payton. If Gary Payton can ever get some offensive game, if he ever gets an offensive game, like if Steph could teach him 1/10 of an offensive game, like, my God, Gary Payton will be a nightmare for people to see 30 minutes a night, because defensively he is a pest and a half. And offensively, like I said, the dude gets any type of offensive game, he's going to be an absolute beast. But, I agree with you. Kuminga right now seems like he could have a monster ceiling, right, Spread? He's pretty raw, but he seems like he's one of those guys that could end up having a huge ceiling. I do like him, too. I would assume that he gets another start, and he's cheap in DFS, so I wouldn't mind going right back to him. But I agree. The Memphis Grizzlies at +5.5. Ja Morant's back. I mean, I think they could win this game. I do.
I definitely do.
The only thing is it is in Golden State. I do think that Steph and Dre, they play off their crowd better than anyone in the league. Like when they're hitting shots and the crowds, I think they play off the energy of the crowd a lot. They're two of those guys that do. So I do like them a lot more at home, but I think this is going to be a close competitive game. I'm going to like this game for DFS.
All right. Can't wait to see all the players that end up in your court. Let's go to the last game of the night. The San Antonio Spurs are +1 heading to Los Angeles to take on the Lakers. Lakers -1. I told you I was disappointed in the Lakers the other night. I thought they were going to be able to keep it close against Phoenix, and real simple handicap. I said, LeBron's going to be the best player on the floor, right? And you could argue that he was. He had a great night. The rest of that team is bad. And you see, so people were getting on Anthony Davis, right? Oh, Anthony Davis not doing anything on the offensive end. Well, did you see how much he was doing on defense? And without him there, this team just simply can't get stops. I mean, they look old. They look slow. They look like a one-man team, right? I mean, even Russ, he's fast, but it still looks kind of old. And they definitely, their effort level and their intensity can kind of wane. We talked about Isaiah, and of course, maybe now that he's getting used to his speed, he gets back and he's effective. But, he went from G League superstar to absolutely looking lost every time he had the ball. Every time, I had the Lakers, and every time he had the ball, I'm just getting really upset, right? Trevor Ariza at this point, he's not nearly the defender that he once was.
I think he's out. Spurs.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I think he got the health and safety protocol.
Oh, he did. Yeah, no Austin Reeves, no Malik Monk, no Avery Bradley, who actually means a lot to that team because of his ability to defend. I don't think Kendrick Nunn's played more than 2 or 3 games for the team this year. Kent Bazemore's another one that I think they really rely upon for defense. Dwight Howard is back. I was hoping to see him against DeAndre Ayton. But when he was out and we watched, talk about old and washed. DeAndre Jordan shouldn't even be playing on a terrible team like the Sacramento Kings, let alone on a team that actually has championship aspirations. Talk about a flaw in team building. The fact that you thought you were going to go in the season with him as your starting center. He's not even the best center on the team. Like Howard's better than him at this point.
Way better than him.
I didn't play it yet, but did I talk myself into the Spurs?
So I will say this, Spread. So on this show, I feel like the San Antonio Spurs have been on almost every Thursday slate for the past 5 weeks. Yeah. And every Thursday slate, or every time I come on here, I'm talking about how I don't understand a line when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs. Because they're a dog almost every time. I can remember the first time was against Portland, when Portland was down Dame. And I'm like, how are they 5.5 point dogs? In this spot, even in Portland, this game should be close to, I think it should be a 1.5 point spread, what it is right now for the Lakers. That's what I thought it should have been. That was weeks ago. They finally started to get a little respect, even in away games. This team is a good, well-coached team with a lot of good players. Maybe they don't have the 2 superstars that a lot of these teams have right now, but they have a lot of good players. And without Anthony Davis, the rim protection is not going to be completely there. The defense is much worse, like you said. I think the Spurs win this game, but I'm not betting the Lakers. That's for sure. Give me the Spurs all day in this spot. I don't care if it's in LA. I'll take DeJounte. He's been playing great. Derek White, Keldon Johnson, Podol, all these guys. Spurs got young guys too off the bench. They've got a good coach. Just everything I want here. And the Lakers look really bad right now. I'm staying away from the Lakers. I want the Spurs again. But I will say, finally, the spread is what it should. It should be like a 1 point spread. That's what I thought it was going to be, or should have been here. And it's right where I thought. But I'm going to take the Spurs. I just think they're the better team right now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. So that is it. That is the slate. Let's move on. I don't see Greg Russo in the chat, but he let me know he watches even if he's not live. So we will do the best bet segment in honor of Gregory Russo, who just tunes in and wants the best bets. 2 minutes into the show, you had to sit through 54 minutes to get there, Greg, but we are finally at the best bet. So JSU, I'll start with you. We got a lot to choose from today. What's your best bet today?
Yeah, I'm going to give you the bets that I'm going to make on the day, but Spurs definitely plus 1.5. Memphis plus 5.5. Denver Nuggets are my best bet though, minus 2.5 or 3, whatever you can get it at. I see it at 2.5 and at 3 at some spots. So whatever you get it there, but that's my best bet. Milwaukee minus 3. I'm gonna bet those are the games. I think Orlando at plus 6 is interesting at home too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still back and forth on if I'm going to bet that, but that would be another one. I know people watch this show and they ask, where are the bets? Where are the bets? So I do want to oblige and give a few bets. My two best bets though are definitely the Bucks and the Nuggets at that spread. So I'm going to take those two as my two best bets, but I did want to throw out a few for the people because normally on Thursday spread, we get like 3 to 5 games and we only give like 1 or 2. So this is different for us on a Thursday. I got to throw out like 4 or 5 bets for the people.
No, and, yeah, I thought it was.
We can run pure here.
Yeah, I thought it was great fun too because usually we're just talking about those teams. I got to get your thoughts on 22 different teams, which is great. Catch you up in just the season, right? I see you on the final countdown, but don't want to interrupt the DFS knowledge to just get your overall thoughts on the team.
When we're doing DFS and stuff like that, like obviously I'm mainly focused on DFS, so I don't really give any bets on the show. So it's good to kind of switch it up and come on here, and I get to once a week give out some win. And we've had success on this Thursday show, so I mean, there's no way if people have watched our Thursday shows, they've had to come away making some money just off the best bets alone. You know what I mean? Not just talking about the other leans and stuff, but it's been a good run on the Thursdays. Mr. Love got it done for us, guys. And hopefully some people got on the Kevin Love, the old Kevin Love train last night and got us to victory. So hopefully some people played him. I see some people in the chat. It was love. It was a good feeling seeing Kevin Love put it on him. I don't know what they were doing, by the way, yanking him in the fourth quarter and letting him sit for that entire, what was it, the 9-minute mark or 8-minute mark all the way to the 2.5-minute mark? Like, what were they doing sitting him for that long? That made no sense to me. I thought they were going to give him a quick breather and then throw him back in there because they were making a run spread. They had it down to 10 or 12 with him in there. And I
had plus 6.5, so I'm thinking we're going to get there.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get back to like you said, like a close game, like a 5-point game or something like that. And then all of a sudden he hooks him, and I'm like, all right, he needs a breather. He's played a good amount, and I'm like, okay, he's got to come back in at the 2-minute mark. They hooked. By the way, you watched that whole game spread? You bet it. So right?
I flipped there because I had money on 3 games and I only had 2 TVs going, so I was flipping back and forth. But I watched probably at least 36 of the 48 minutes.
So that game, in my opinion, like the first half. The Celtics at halftime were up 15. I don't know if you saw at halftime. They were up like 63-48. I'm telling you right now, that 15-point lead, Taco Fall gave up at least 20 points by himself were due to Taco Fall and the fact that for an entire half, he played 13 minutes in the entire half. He did not come up and challenge any free throw line jumpers in the middle of the floor. So that means when a team set a screen, so when the Celtics set a screen and they were going into the middle of the floor, Taco Fall sat back in the key, hoping that they would drive at him so he could swat them. And what did the Celtics do? They just took bunny jumpers the entire friggin' half. Or wide open threes because Taco Fall could not come out and challenge them. And he just kept giving them up. And the Cavs, because they were down so many guys or whatever reason, ran out Taco Fall for 13 minutes in the first half. I mean, that's how they got that monster lead.
Yeah.
Don't think like that's how the Celtics were just scoring at ease. The Cavs went on a stretch where they were like 2 for 20 from 3. That didn't help either. That was a long stretch too. But they were down so much because of Taco Fall. Starting Taco Fall and playing him that much in the first half was the absolute worst decision by the coach. I just don't know if they said, hey, we need a start him, give him some minutes. Maybe we'll have to punt this game, but it didn't make sense to me. And if you're going to start him, the dude should play in 3-minute spurts.
Right.
3-minute spurts. And in that 3 minutes, he can't just sit in the key. He's got to at least challenge the free throw line jumpers. And he wasn't even doing that. So I just, that made no sense. I think JB has been a really good coach for the Cavs, but
I think he was overwhelmed last night. I mean, all of his rotations went out the window, and he was kind of coaching on the fly. And you brought up the two big mistakes.
Maybe it was the Celtics. Maybe he just wanted Taco to start against his old team, give him some run against the Celtics. Because you saw in the second half, he made the adjustment. He hooked Taco quick. Mm-hmm. Taco gave up a few buckets that were due to him not challenging. And I think it was a Jaylen Brown 3 that was like instant, and then something else, and he hooked them. And that was the right move, but they were already down like 20. It fucked the whole game up.
Let's give the people one question before I do my sign-off spiel. The Coleman Wilson wants to know, Curry or Ball tonight? Who would you rather play?
Curry or Ball? Curry. Oh, God, Curry's got. I got a stain in my mouth from a Curry. He's been hurting my feelings last like week or so. I've been playing him, but I'm gonna lean Curry. Like, if you're just saying straight up who I'm gonna take, I think the matchup is definitely better for LaMelo Ball.
I do too.
I really like guards against Denver, but with them,
especially like bigger guards.
Yeah, but with them like almost fully healthy spread, I just gotta lean Steph Curry. If you're just telling me if they keep this game close, which the spread is telling me that, they got a good shot to win this game, obviously. But if that's the case, I mean, he's got to be he's got to be putting up points.
Right.
Who else is going to score for them? Draymond's going to score like his 9 to 15, right? Like, he's not going to score more than like 12 or 15. I'm talking like ceiling points too, right? Who's going to score like Wiggins or Poole?
Right. That's a great point. Yeah. Well, I like the matchup there for LaMelo, but you're making great points.
I love it, though.
There for Steph Curry. So I hope everybody enjoyed watching the show. If you did, like our guy Chef Nakia says, hey, let's get some likes. We spent an hour trying to give you all the best NBA information you can. All we ask is just for the like. Of course, subscribe to the channel. And hey, if you do enjoy it, share with your friends. To give you an idea for the schedule of the Run Pure Bets team, Tyler was not with us today because he is preparing right now for the NFL show. He's going to do the heavy lifting. I'll be hosting that. We're going to go live with that in about an hour. And then we will be back tomorrow for the NBA rundown. Even though there's no game scheduled, we're going to preview the Christmas Day because we won't be available on Christmas. So we're going to do the Christmas Day games tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when Tyler and I go live later this afternoon. And then, of course, you'll get the notifications when we go live to preview the Christmas Day NBA slate tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. JSU, what do you have going on for your content for the rest of this Christmas weekend?
Yeah, so we got a showdown show in about I got to jump on there in about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes. Me, Big T, Tambo, breaking down the showdown slate for tonight's San Francisco Tennessee Titans game. We'll do that, like I said, in about 5-6 minutes. And then we got all the content, NBA cores, NBA shows, Hardwood show at 4:45, Up to Lock show for NBA.
So are you doing Up to Lock tonight?
6 p.m. I don't know if I'll be on there, but
okay.
we'll definitely have it tonight. Usually Thursday's my night off.
Your day off. But with 11 games, I didn't know if they've roped you back in, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But so we got that. And then obviously all the content. And then tomorrow we're going to do a NFL show, 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
I think it's going to be free on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, where me, Big T, Uncle Dunkle are going to break down the NFL games for Christmas Day for sure. Talk that main slate, maybe talk a little bit of the Sunday main slate as well. So
cool. Check
that out. 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. We'll be live talking those winners. And like I said, if you're a premium member, about 5 minutes, we're rolling that showdown show. So get in there, get in the live show chat in the Discord. We'll take some questions in there, and we'll be giving winners for tonight's football game.
All right, JSU, busy day for you, but I want to thank you, and good to let the people know that even though it's a holiday weekend, we are not taking time off. We're going to be bringing you the winners. We'll probably go live with our NFL show right around the time that you guys are done, so that should coincide perfectly. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.